The House will come to order. Today, the pledge will be led by our very own Representative Titone.
Please join me in the pledge.
Mr. Shebo, please call the roll.
Representatives Bacon, AML Bacon, Barone, Basenecker, Bottoms, Bradfield, Bradley, Brooks, Brown, Representative Brown,
Excused.
Caldwell, Camacho, Carter, Clifford, DeGraff, Duran, English, Representative English,
Excused.
Espinoza, Foray, Flanell, Froelich, Garcia, Rep. Garcia Sander is excused. Gilchrist, Goldstein, Gonzalez, Hamrick, Hartsook, Jackson, Johnson, Joseph, Kelty, Leader, Lindsay,
Here.
Luck, Lukens, Mabry, Marshall, Martinez, Morrow, he's back there, McCormick, Wynn, Pascal, Phillips, Richardson, Ricks, Representative Ricks, Routenell, Representative Routenell,
Excused.
is excused. Ryden, Sirota, Slaw, Smith, Soper, Representative Soper,
Excused.
Stewart K, Stewart R. Okay, oh yeah. Story, Sukla, Taggart, Titone, Valdez A, Representative Valdez,
Excused.
Velasco, Representative Velasco,
Excused.
Weinberg, Wilford, Representative Wilford,
Excused.
Winter, Woodrow, Woog, Zokai, and Madam Speaker is excused.
With 56 present, 9 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Titone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move the Journal of Monday, April 13, 2026 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you've heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The motion is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Today, it's an honor to recognize on behalf of our good colleague from Eaton, who is not here today, Liberty Common High School, along with my good colleague to my left and the one behind us. Liberty Common High School, class of 2026. They are here in the Capitol today, and on this day, the members of the Colorado House of Representatives are pleased and proud to honor these high school seniors' outstanding achievements and to recognize the accomplishments as they are close in a couple of weeks to graduating. These students have demonstrated exceptional dedication to the pursuit of wisdom, character development, and extracurricular achievements. Among these graduates are a state champion in wrestling, a student appointed to the United States Military Academy of West Point, 2 Daniels Fund Scholars, and 2 National Merit Finalists. This is amazing. This is our future, and our future is bright, and we want to make sure that you have a chance to be able to meet and talk with them when you see them in the building.
So please join us in welcoming them.
I don't know where they went.
Further announcements. Rep. Mabry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Judiciary Committee members, 10 minutes upon adjournment. We're going to be meeting in room 107. We're going to hear House Bill 1285, Senate Bill 95, Senate Bill 104, and House Bill 1281. 10 minutes upon adjournment, room 107.
Great. Other announcements. Representative Hamrick? Representative Froelich.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. The Transportation, Housing, and Local Government Committee will meet upon adjournment, LSBA, for 98, action only, then 92, 40, and 109.
Representative Hamrick.
Thank you, members. Please welcome into the People's House, Canyon Creek Elementary School, 78 students, 12 chaperones. They are grade 4. They'll be milling about, so please make them welcome. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Majority Leader Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions.
Seeing no objection, we will proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions. Majority Leader Duran.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move for the immediate consideration of House Joint Resolution 1027.
Seeing no objection, we will proceed to the immediate consideration of House Joint Resolution 1027. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title.
House Joint Resolution 1027 by Representatives Weinberg and Woodrow, also Senators Weissman and Ball, concerning remembrance of the Holocaust.
Representative Woodrow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
I move House Joint Resolution 1027 and ask that it be read at length.
Thank you. Mr. Schiebel, please read our resolution.
Whereas genocide begins not with violence but with words, and whereas prejudice, bigotry, bias, and racism have been the cause of conflict, war, and mass atrocities throughout human history, and whereas observing an individual moment of silence for each Jewish victim of the Holocaust would take over 11 years. And whereas the English word Holocaust derives from Greek words meaning whole or holos and burnt or kostos, and generally describes destruction on a mass scale. Holocaust, as a proper noun, specifically refers to the state-sponsored persecution and mass murder of European Jews and others at the direction of the German Nazi government between 1933 and 1945. And whereas the Nazis who came to power in Germany in January of 1933 asserted that Germans were racially superior and that Jews and others were inferior and an alien threat to the so-called German racial community. And whereas the Nazis used anti-Semitism as a political weapon to gain popular support, blaming Jews for all of Germany's hardships, including the country's defeat in World War I, the economic depression, and the threat of Bolshevik communism. It made little difference that the Nazis' accusations were blatantly contradictory and their so-called facts were fabricated. And whereas between 1933 and 1945, Nazi Germany and its collaborators murdered 6 million Jews, 2 out of every 3 Jews who lived throughout Europe, 1.5 million of whom were children, as well as 5 million other civilians who were viewed as enemies or threats to Nazi ideology. And whereas we recall that in the aftermath of World War II, Israel, a close ally and friend of the United States, became a refuge for many survivors who endured the ravages of the Holocaust, and it has remained a sanctuary for Jews worldwide seeking safety ever since. And whereas we gratefully acknowledge the more than 28,000 non-Jews who at great risk to themselves saved Jews from extermination during the Holocaust and have been designated righteous among the nations of Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center, and acknowledge the efforts of the United States and other Allied forces who liberated Nazi concentration camps as World War II was ending. And whereas today, as we mourn the loss of those who were killed and consider the terrible experiences of those who suffered and lived through the Holocaust, we note that anti-Semitic acts are not a thing of the past. According to the Anti-Defamation League's annual audit of anti-Semitic incidents, anti-Jewish incidents surged to historic levels in 2024, with a total of 9,354 incidents of anti-Jewish harassment, vandalism, and assault reported across the United States. In Colorado, there were 279 reported anti-Jewish incidents in 2024, which is the highest level recorded in more than 45 years and a 42% increase since 2023. Colorado ranked 9th among states in 2024 for the most reported anti-Semitic incidents. Globally, there has also been an increase in anti-Semitic incidents. Many Jews feel more isolated and vulnerable as a result. And whereas today, while we remember the Holocaust, we focus our attention on the passing of Holocaust survivors who provided firsthand accounts of the terrors they endured, leaving their children and grandchildren as the last generations to know the stories of the Holocaust directly from those who lived through it. And whereas, while we are fortunate that several organizations in Colorado are dedicated to retelling the stories of the Holocaust and other genocides, it is not enough. Far too many people, including most students, need more opportunities to learn about these atrocities so they are not repeated. To mitigate the issue, on July 8, 2020, Governor Polis signed into law House Bill 1336, requiring the satisfactory completion of a course that includes Holocaust and genocide studies as a condition of high school graduation in public schools. And whereas we recognize the tremendous investment and preparation that Colorado school districts, administrators, and foremost classroom educators are putting forth to implement and support House Bill 1336 as they ensure the phrase, "we remember," will carry meaning and merit for generations of Colorado students. And whereas it is our responsibility to bear witness to the truth of the horrors of the Holocaust, its many lessons, and to prevent hateful words from building up like the bricks that built Auschwitz. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 75th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the members of the General Assembly, remember the Holocaust, including survivors Fred Briner, Samuel Weinberg, and Sylvia Weinberg, promote anti-bias, bullying prevention, and Holocaust and genocide education programs in school districts and universities to prevent anti-Semitic incidents that target Jewish students, including targeting based on their actual or perceived support of the State of Israel, and declare that the people of Colorado should understand the power of words, remembering the great injustices of the past, and commit to preventing such atrocities in the future.
Representative Woodrow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Schiebel. Thank you, colleagues. It is an honor to serve with all of you. You may be seated. Welcome to honored guests of the Jewish community. And thank you to my co-prime sponsor, Representative Weinberg. I think this is our third or fourth year running this resolution together. Part of me is filled with sadness, knowing that, God willing, it will be our last. Last night and today marks Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, the day we recall the wholesale slaughter of 6 million Jews, approximately 2/3 of Europe's entire Jewish population during World War II. As I've said in years prior, I had the privilege, along with Representative Valdez, of visiting Auschwitz and Birkenau a couple years back. I am returning this summer with my parents and my children. Together, we will make our way through the gas chambers, tour the barracks at Birkenau, and bear collective witness to the crematoria, the machinery of death that claimed over 1.1 million lives, baked to ashes in 5 years. As you know, Auschwitz was not the only camp. Under Operation Reinhard from 1942 to 1943, the Nazis murdered approximately 1.7 million people in just 3 camps, Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka. At one point, the death toll at these camps averaged 14,700 people per day for 90 straight days. They slowed down only when they ran out of Jews to murder. Of course, today Jew hatred is not nearly as efficient. Modern anti-Semitism rears its ugly head during attacks at synagogues, shootings on beaches, and marches in Boulder. It shows up in group chats praising Hitler, on podcasts where the official death count is questioned, and in jokes about how Jews own our national media, run international banks, and control global weather. And it can be found in the quiet belief that Jews around the world should anticipate or expect or even deserve such violent reprisals and scorn given the conduct of the current Israeli government. None of this is to say that other groups have not experienced torment and torture or that atrocities are not occurring this very moment. We condemn all of it, everywhere, from now through eternity. Today is simply a recognition that our people, the Jewish people, remember. On Passover, many of our seders include a poem that asks, Israel, my people, God's greatest riddle, will thy solution ever be told? I can't answer that. In my decades of trying, the best I can come up with is to ensure that our collective memory holds space for what happened when humanity lost its mind and its heart and let extremism run roughshod over the better angels of our nature. It is in that memory and in honor to the millions of lives lost that we say never forget. Thank you.
Representative Weinberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you, ma'am.
It is an honor to serve with you.
Yeah, 4 years doing this. I remember the first day I walked in, and Daphne Michelson-Janae, which I hope she hears this, she caught me. She is? Oh, good. Well, now I hope she doesn't hear. She caught me on the floor. I had no clue who this wonderful woman was. And she's like, you're Jewish, right? You're part of the Jewish caucus. We're going to do the Holocaust resolution. I don't know Adam from Eve, for Pete's sake. I don't know what I'm doing in this building. I've just stepped in. And on the fly, I was invited to be a part of a caucus and give my recollection of what it means and what the Holocaust was. And they didn't know me. They didn't know my family was in it. Nothing. But it was such an open arm invitation from a Democrat, being a Republican. Yes, Republican Jew, how weird. So this is very special to me. In fact, it's an honor to continue this on because Daphne, Representative Michelson-Janae did so much work in the House of Representatives and the Senate just for the Jewish community. And just to even be able to fill that shoe is very important, as well as being with Woodrow. I'm just going to quickly tell you my story, because this is the last time I get to share it, and I'm actually holding up pretty well for some weird-ass reason. So my grandmother, her brother was taken in Poland, taken out of their house. Their parents were shot in the street. Both of them shot in the street. And her brother went to Auschwitz. She was lucky enough because she knew how to sew. And she sewed uniforms for the German army. That's why they kept her alive. Her brother was not so lucky. He got thrown in one of those ovens, and he got burnt. My grandfather, lucky, he saw the writing on the wall. Literally, the Jewish stars going on shops. He saw the writing on the wall and escaped and went to Russia and fought on horseback, sometimes with one bullet in his gun. It's insanity. This is such an important resolution, and for one very big reason, not about politics, but about why we should never allow government to have too much power. It was government that did this to the people. Not many people know this, but Hitler was the Speaker of the House for Germany. Our roles are to protect all lives, all people. Very important, we take that seriously. Regardless of what we are, Republicans or Democrats, outside those doors, we're beholden to 88,000 people that we need to ensure that atrocities of that nature would never occur to any race or population of people. And that's why this resolution is so important. I'm honored to have my grandparents' name read in, and as long as with Representative Goldstein. My grandmother was the coolest. She took care of her animals better than she took care of herself when she got out of Auschwitz and into Israel. If you had met her, you would see she was a fantastic woman. She had those numbers tatted on her, and she was still happy and made us happy every day. And I miss her. I miss her a lot. God bless our United States military, and thank God that they liberated. Thank God this country exists. Thank God for all of you being legislators and taking the time to listen and hear me out for the last time, I promise. Please keep this resolution going, and please take your jobs serious. Lives matter, and you are the backbone of that whole society. Never again shall we march like sheep to the slaughter. Never again shall we sit and take orders. Thank you very much.
Representative Goldstein.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
I want you to think about this if you have a 10-year-old child or grandchild, and think about the developmental place that they are at, and could they go through this. So as far as I know, and my family, we think it was probably around November 9th, 1938, the night known as Kristallnacht, in Bethune, Germany, which is now Bethune, Poland. 10-year-old Fred Brenitzer's parents told him the Nazis were coming. Get up on the roof of their apartment building and run, and don't come back. That was the last time 10-year-old Fred Brenitzer saw his parents. Fred and the little boy next door did just that. They ran, and they ended up on a farm in Czechoslovakia where they worked for their keep from the farmer that took them in. One day the Russians came through. They did a spot fire on the barn where Fred and the other boy were hiding, and the other boy was hit by the gunfire and died. After the war, Fred went where other displaced people went, looking for anyone in his family that was still alive. He spoke both German and Polish, and he was a teenager by then, and he was hired by the Americans to help them translate. He found 2 cousins, a brother and sister, Ernst and Erna, but that was all. The sister Erna came to the United States with her husband, and they sponsored Fred to come to the United States, where at the immigration office, the immigration officer told him Brenitzer was too hard to spell, so he became Fred Breiner, my dad. He moved out west to South Dakota, where he met and married my mother, a young divorced Jewish woman with a young child, me. He adopted me. The Holocaust has had an impact not only on me, but my children as well. I had the opportunity to visit Dachau in the 1980s when the war was still pretty fresh, actually, in people's minds. And I got to go to the Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem. My daughters have both visited Auschwitz, where my father's parents possibly perished. And where my son was 10 years old, I looked at him and could not begin to fathom him going through what his papi had gone through at that age. Papi has actually shared with him the stories that he can remember to my son, who listened with great earnest. We have all heard stories. We have all visited memorials and museums to the Holocaust, met survivors, but we are on the tail end of this saga. My dad is 97 years old, and there are very few survivors left, but let alone those that fought to survive. And we do say in Hebrew, Le'olam el tishach, never forget, because as the philosopher George Santayana said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And the past is repeating itself today. So remember before it's too late. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1027. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 61 ayes, 0 no, 4 excused, House Joint Resolution 1027 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representatives Rutnell and Lindsay, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that the following bills be made special orders on April 14th, 2026 at 9:34 a.m. House Bill 1288, House Bill 1224, Senate Bill 105, House Bill 1196, Senate Bill 122, and Senate Bill 144.
Seeing no objection, the bills listed by the Majority Leader will be made special orders today, April 14th at 9:34 a.m. AML Bacon. Members, you have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Assistant Majority Leader Bacon will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen, on iLegislate, and in today's folder on your box account. Bills will be laid over upon motion by the majority leader, and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1288.
House Bill 1288 by Representatives Joseph and Carter concerning measures related to jury selection.
Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1288 in the Judiciary Committee report.
To the committee report. Representative Carter.
I move L4 to the committee report.
We'll get it properly displayed.
I move L4 to the Judicial Committee report.
Just give us a second. Okay, it is displayed. Representative Carter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All this does specifically is take the bias, the elimination of bias in jury selection. We're taking that line out specifically. It was a conversation that we had with some of our stakeholders to make it clearer in what we were trying to get done. So all L4 does is take the elimination of bias in jury selection. It takes it out of the strike below amendment that we had in judiciary.
Okay, is there any further discussion on L4? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. L4 is passed. To the committee report. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the Judiciary Committee report. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. The Judiciary Committee report is passed. To the bill. Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. I just want to be clear as well to the process. We had a bill that had a massive fiscal note, and after conversations with our stakeholders, we end up redrafting the bill as a strike below, which is the Judiciary Committee report, and the bill now is a working group as opposed to the original bill that we tried to pass into law. At the core of our justice system is a simple promise. Every Coloradan deserves a fair trial, and that begins with a fair and impartial jury. 261288, as amended, takes a thoughtful and responsible approach to strengthening that process rather than rushing into a broad statutory change. This bill creates a jury selection working group within the Judicial Department, bringing together prosecutors, defense attorneys, civil lawyers, judges, jury commissioners, and legal experts from across the state. Because jury selection is complex, it looks different in rural and urban courts. It impacts both criminal and civil cases, and getting it right requires real expertise. The working group will study key issues like the appropriate amount of time for voir dire, the use of juror questionnaires, and how we reduce bias in jury selection. We did remove that language from the strike below. And importantly, this bill ensures accountability. The group will produce a public report with recommendations, and if rules changes are proposed, the Colorado Supreme Court must respond. Members, this is about doing the work and doing it right, bringing the right people together, grounding decisions in data and experience, and building a system that people can trust. A fair jury is not optional, it is fundamental. I respectfully ask for your yes vote on this particular bill. Thank you.
Is there any discussion? Representative Carter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, or Madam Chair.
Chair.
Sorry. The impetus for this bill specifically was based on the fact that while I practice primarily in one jurisdiction, I have practiced in jurisdictions all over the state. The reality is, and this came up through my discussions with both members of the Trial Lawyers Associations and the Criminal Defense Bar, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, you might have different rules. And depending on the basis of those rules, you may or may not have an ability to communicate with the jury, which is what voir dire is for. The original purpose was to have a jury questionnaire that was universal for the state of Colorado. In our meeting with stakeholders, the judges were not ready for a jury questionnaire, but they were ready for a sit-down specifically regarding, I don't want to say jury questionnaires, voir dire, the effectiveness of rehabilitating jurors, and the use of the model penal code or the model bench book during voir dire. This was a huge leap for us. Instead of implementing the questionnaire, we came back with a working group that will put together specific universal issues that can be used during voir dire, during jury selection, that the Supreme Court will then take a look at. This is a great bill. It just promotes uniformity within the judicial ranks, uniformity during jury selection, and it's a great bill. Vote yes.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1288. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. House Bill 1288 is passed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1224. Members, I'm sorry, Members, I'm sorry, it is starting to get a little bit loud. If we can bring our voices down. Thank you. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1224.
House Bill 1224 by Representatives Velasco and Basenecker, also Senators Cutter and Roberts, concerning financial protections for mobile home park residents.
I'm sorry, Speaker Pro Tem Basenecker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
I move House Bill 1224, the Finance Committee report, and the Transportation, Housing, and Local Government Committee report.
To the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In Finance Committee, we moved a couple different amendments that address some stakeholder concerns that were present throughout the process, thankfully bringing those folks to a monitor position on the bill, and we would ask for your yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The Finance Committee report is passed. To the Transportation, Housing, and Local Government Committee report, Speaker Pro Tem Basenecker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It wouldn't be a committee hearing unless we ran a couple amendments, so we did that. We addressed some concerns around the sharing of documents process for doing all of that on the financial disclosure side, and then what qualified as legal relationships or the financing structures, clarifying some of those pieces as well. We'd ask for your yes vote.
Sorry to pause. I just cannot hear you. Sorry. Is there any further discussion on the Transportation Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The committee report is passed. To the bill, Representative Velasco.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. For many families in Colorado, especially in rural and working class communities, mobile home parks are not a temporary housing option. They are a home, community, and one of the last remaining forms of naturally occurring affordable housing because they are not subsidized. The vulnerability in these communities is unique because people may own their home, but they rent the land underneath it. And the sale of the park can create immediate instability for an entire neighborhood. That is why this body has done significant work strengthening protections for mobile home park residents and why we are back again this year. And we know that there is more work to do. This bill builds on that prior work by focusing on whether residents have the basic information and time that they need to make sure that they're able to buy their mobile home park. And in my community, about 5 of those parks have gone up for sale, a couple of them selling for $42 million. Community members have 120 days to organize, to get a loan together, to create a co-op, and it feels like they are moving mountains. So it's really a big effort. for them to be able to accomplish this task and be able to continue to invest in their community. And I'm really proud to continue to work in this space as I was someone that grew up in mobile home parks and saw the risk of displacement that our communities face. So I urge a yes vote.
Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, it is truly an honor to join Rep. Velasco on another bill working to protect not only our mobile home park residents, but also to ensure the stability of our state's largest source of unsubsidized affordable housing. And I think when we talk about mobile home parks, it's important to recognize that we are talking about a disproportionate number of veterans that live in these communities, a disproportionate number of older adults that live in these communities, a disproportionate number of immigrant families that live in these communities, and a disproportionate number of folks who live with a disability who live in these communities. And so at the end of the day, that has been our North Star for this work, to say that not only is this housing choice important for the residents of Colorado, it is really important for folks who might not otherwise have a housing option in front of them. Over the last several years, this body has done a lot of work to modernize the Mobile Home Park Act, and we really view this as the next step in that effort to ensure that residents have a meaningful opportunity to purchase. This bill simply builds on the framework we already enacted by requiring a more transparent sales process and by making sure that these transactions are conducted at an arm's length and in good faith. It also strengthens disclosures so that residents can actually evaluate what they're being asked to match, including key financial and maintenance information tied to the park and buyer's offers. It protects the due diligence process so that residents are not punished for simply doing what any responsible buyer would do: inspections, contingencies, and financing review. And it also addresses a major problem in the market. When parks are sold through bundled or portfolio transactions, residents should not be structurally disadvantaged from the outset. They should have a meaningful opportunity to purchase that park just like any other. This bill does not stop an owner from selling their park at whatever price they would like to do that. It does not deny fair market value. It simply says that the process has to be fair and transparent so that residents can exercise their rights under the law. We have seen this working. Resident-owned communities are popping up all over the state because of the work we have done together. One in my district in particular that I'm incredibly proud of. We know what it means when we provide stability in housing for families, and this bill is the next step in doing just that. We would ask for your support.
Representative Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, sponsors, for bringing this bill. I understand honestly what you're trying to get at, and I support certainly private ownership of your own home and the lands it sits on, and that is good. I do want to offer a small amendment. And here you go. I move L006 to HP 1224 and ask that it be displayed.
Okay. Okay, we're just getting it displayed. Okay, it is displayed.
Yeah, this is a relatively simple amendment. There's a registration fee that's paid for each unit to the state that right now half of it can be levied on the unit. Half of it can be paid by the manager. This just kind of provides a sliding scale. The fee has to be paid regardless. If it's paid as a full fee to the occupant, they understand what it's for. If the management chooses to take that on as overhead, that will likely resolve itself into slightly higher lot rates. That can be done. This just allows the use of that fee to be tailored, how it's paid, in order to fit the local situation of each individual park. It's not meant to be disruptive to the bill, just to add a little flexibility to management and potentially a little more transparency to the residents. And I would urge a yes vote.
Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to my good colleague for bringing the amendment. I think a conversation in this space is always welcome. This piece in particular, though, isn't being adjusted in this bill. We're simply stabilizing that fee at $17. The split, the even split that currently is in law, was long negotiated, and we worked with stakeholders on both the park ownership side and also the resident side with the remaining provisions here. I'm going to ask for a no vote for today, but always happy to have a conversation about this policy piece.
Is there any further discussion on L6? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in favor, please say aye. Sorry. All those opposed, please say no. No. L6 is lost. We're back to the bill. Representative Sukla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So years ago, there's a video auction company called Superior Livestock Auction, and I flew up to Denver to buy, I wanted to buy 10% of this auction company. And my problem with the bill is the gentleman that owned, the two gentlemen that owned that auction company would not let me look at the financials unless I signed a disclosure agreement that whatever I seen in those financials, I would sign that disclosure agreement. Otherwise, they wouldn't let me look at them to come buy the company. My concern is you're going to limit the buyers of these mobile home parks if you have gentlemen or women that are telling you that they're not going to let you look at the disclosures unless you sign that agreement. So my problem with the bill is how are they going to sell these if they don't ever let them look at the disclosure agreements? Thank you.
Representative DeGraff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think those are great questions. I mean, this has a lot of important stuff. We want to certainly encourage property ownership in the state of Colorado. I'd say, which is something that I see worked against every day in this room. So I'm kind of confused here when the general direction of the legislation in this room is to push all this property into corporate hands. And here we have this, which is fantastic, but now it's getting and inserting the government into contractual negotiations. I mean, really, that property is always for sale. The nature of that property is it's for sale. Somebody, most likely, a company came in and offered, put money on the table. We don't know what the time frame that they have allocated is for that. They say we want to, and it's probably going to be some nonprofit that wants to, pile up a bunch of shipping containers for everybody to live in, since that seems to be the only way that housing will be affordable anymore. So instead of, again, actually dealing with the issues that we have in the state of Colorado of making things affordable, now we're taking the ramifications, we're taking the fallout of the bad decisions in this room and then saying, well, we're going to insert the government even more into trying to solve that. And the problem is we're going to end up with even more issues with that. The terms, conditions, as stated in the notice, must be universal and applicable to all potential buyers. Who's going to evaluate that? Who's going to be looking at these things? You have to mail the notice in English and Spanish. Why only those languages? I'm not advocating it should be more, but we have an official language, and now we're going backwards, and we're isolating, and we're further bifurcating the state rather. So this is just we have issues in our property ownership. That's a fact. But this room is consistently attacking property ownership. And then when you have landlords that are looking to get out of this space, then the government puts themselves in and puts their hand on the scale once again. Now, the sponsors are saying the government is not putting its hand on the scale, but it is intervening in this space. It is time is money, getting government approval to do this stuff. So I would just like to have the General Assembly get backward. Let's move and look at the things that are actually causing the price of housing to go up. Asbestos is one, the overregulation is another. People work 2 jobs and can't afford a house at this point because regulation adds a third to a half. The regulation adds a year to the construction time frame. So these are peripheral issues, and I get that they make you feel good about solving something, but we are not dealing with the structural issues of the state of Colorado that has pushed property ownership into crisis. And I get it. The abolition of private property is ultimately the goal, but it is wreaking a serious effect on the citizens of Colorado. And I would just like for the General Assembly to rewind and look at what it has done to make property ownership so difficult, as opposed to just trying to put more government intervention into it to try to solve the problems that it has created. So the better way to solve these problems would be to remove your previous solutions that are ultimately the source of these problems. So I'll be a no.
Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We were waiting on some stakeholder feedback and got everybody to sign off. So at this time, we'll move L7 to House Bill 1224 and ask that it be properly displayed.
Okay, it is properly displayed. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is largely a technical cleanup based on bills that were passed by myself in 2022 and in years prior related to who has standing in the Mobile Home Park Oversight Program. It's a technical clarification based on those bills. We ask for your support.
Is there any discussion on L7? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. L7 is passed. Back to the bill.
We'd still ask for your yes vote, even more so now that it's amended.
Representative Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I understand the purpose of the bill. I'm a little unsure whether it's needed. The sponsor did say right up front that more and more often residents are buying their parks. So I'm not sure why we need to intervene as a state. But the biggest concern I actually have with the bill is it requires business and financial disclosures as well as material condition disclosures be provided to all the residents when there's a decision made to sell. That's the type of information that in a real estate deal is generally withheld and not provided across the board until you're under contract. So there's a lot of information out there potentially that if the residents decide they don't want to pursue this, there's probably, it creates kind of a disadvantage to the owner for others that might privately come in and make offers because, again, this is just kind of a very different way of approaching a real estate deal than in any other type of transaction. The disclosures come after there's a contract in place to buy or sell. So that I think is just a big problem with this bill. And for that reason, along with the fact that this is naturally occurring, I don't think it is needed and would urge a no vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1224. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. House Bill 1224 is passed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title of Senate Bill 105.
Senate Bill 105 by Senator Hinrichsen, also Representatives Martinez and Morrow, concerning county coroners and in connection therewith, requiring coroners to disclose their financial interests in regulated businesses.
Representative Martinez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 105 in the committee report.
To the committee report. Representative Morrow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In committee, we had a couple of amendments. One was a technical amendment. Another was to make an adjustment to population that was changed in this building about 3 years ago. So we have time to work on a better long-term fix in that area of the bill. And I ask for an aye vote.
AML Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move Amendment L007 to the committee report and ask it to be properly displayed.
Okay. AML Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I'm trying to do with this is
I'm sorry, sir. Before you, can you just say your motion again? Say, I move. Sorry, thank you.
I move L007 to the committee report.
Thank you very much. Please proceed.
Basically, the representative from Pueblo explained that she had made a change from 150 to 3,000 residents, and I'd like to back off on that. Candidates can now run for coroner without meeting the professional standards originally designed for counties. The size of counties like Pueblo and Mesa County, if the national certification is eliminated by raising the population threshold to 300,000, residents of these two counties, the county coroners are no longer required to hold certification from the American Board of Medicological Death Investigators. This is the national gold standard for death investigation and confirms competency in forensic evidence handling, legal reporting, and determining cause and manner of death. Larger county coroners handle unattended deaths, overdoses, homicides, industrial accidents, and mass casualty incidents. These cases directly shape criminal investigations, public health reporting, and families' legal rights. This is not a small county workload, and I represent a lot of small counties, and I respect what my small county coroners do, but obviously as you get a larger in size population, definitely the workload's different and the amount of things that you see are different. I think that, keeping the professional standards are really important, especially in a time like this that we're facing now, and I think that this is really pertinent to strengthen oversight, so I would ask for an aye vote.
Representative Mara.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative, and I appreciate your amendments. I do ask for an aye vote, or no vote on the amendment. I don't disagree that I want standards. I've been working closely with the Colorado Coroners Association in this area, and at this time it was their request to run the amendment that I ran while we work on a better fix for this. Pueblo and Mesa counties are in a very unique little spot. We're not big. We're not small, so it is important. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I do want to work with you on that. But at this time, per working with the Coroners Association, I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Representative to the amendment. Okay. Is there any further discussion on Amendment L7? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. L7 is lost. To the bill. Representative Richardson. I'm sorry, committee report. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is its passage. All those in... All right. Okay, the question before us is the passage of the committee report. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say no. The committee report is passed. To the bill. Representative Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Third time is a charm. Here we go. It's the same one I brought during committee. I move L006 to Senate Bill 105 and ask that it be displayed.
Okay, it is displayed. Representative Richardson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, I do very much like the bill. I think transparency and disclosures from elected officials is very important. I brought this amendment, and I know they were looking at some larger counties, but I do have concerns that the wording might lead some to be concerned about running for office that actually work in the industry. While they do have to disclose, that's great, but I want to make sure that we very clearly state that nothing in the bill prohibits an individual from serving as a coroner that operates in their civilian life a mortuary or other related services, that we don't inadvertently prevent people from electing to serve because of the language that's going into statute. So it's really a belt and suspenders type amendment. It just assures that while you have to disclose that you may work in these services, there's nothing that prevents you from working in these services and serving as a coroner. Thank you. I urge a yes vote.
Representative Martinez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I actually really agree with my colleague from Elbert County on this. The whole intent of this is to make sure that we are being transparent with those that are running for coroner in the state of Colorado and making sure that they're disclosing what operations that they have, including current operators of funerals or mortuaries. And I think the other bit to this is that, we do not want to prohibit anybody from running from these positions. We just want to make sure that they're being transparent when they are doing so and being forthcoming with the investments that they have, just like any other office, just like us right here in this building. So, with that, I agree with my colleague from Elbert County, and we will happily take this as a belt and suspenders amendment. So we request an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on L6? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. L6 is passed. Back to the bill. Representative Luck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just note here in the first section the definition of financial interests, meaning an ownership interest, employment relationship, management role, contractual relationship, or other direct pecuniary interest. And I just want to make sure that I'm understanding the bill sponsor's intent properly, that is as relates to the coroner's individual capacity, not as the coroner themselves, because my understanding in parts of my district is that I have at least one coroner who contracts with a mortuary via the county process, and we're not meaning to touch any of that. We're meaning in terms of the personal capacity. I'm getting yes votes, or yes nods, I should say. So, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 105. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Senate Bill 105 is passed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1196.
House Bill 1196 by Representatives English and Joseph concerning tenant data information.
Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. Oh, no. I move 1196 and the Transportation and Housing and Local Government Committee report.
And the Finance?
There's no Finance Committee report. 1196.
Okay, to the report.
To the committee report. Yes, we do have actually two amendments to the committee report. Can we please have, I move L22. Yes.
It is properly displayed. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to also, I can remove it again. I move House Bill 1196 and the Transportation and Housing and Local Government Committee report. And we just also moved L22 to the committee report. And the reason why we have L22 is because we have L23, which amends certain part of the report, and therefore we had to amend the legislative declaration in the bill to reflect what the bill will eventually look like. And we ask for a yes vote on L22.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L22? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L002. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. L22 is passed. To the committee report.
Yes, Madam Chair. I move AL 23, and again, we had a lot of conversation on.
She got to display it first. Move it to the chair.
Rep. Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move AL 23 to the committee report.
It is properly displayed. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so we've been amending this bill a whole lot. And L23 came out from that conversation. We had to remove the entire Section 4 of the bill, which is around rent reporting. So that section is no longer in the bill. And we also just cleaned up some language around the screening criteria, and we asked for a yes vote on this particular amendment.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L023? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment 23. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Amendment 23 is passed. To the committee report. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of the committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The committee report passes. To the bill. Rep. English.
Do we need to move it?
We did.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, I'm going to ask for a yes vote for this bill, although the portion that I really wanted in it has been removed, which is positive rent reporting as a tool for economic mobility, but that's something we can work on next session. But this legislation is rooted in a fundamental premise that should not be controversial, but too often is overlooked in practice. Housing is not simply about shelter. It is a primary determinant of financial stability, educational continuity, workforce participation, and long-term wealth development. Rent for many households across Colorado, including the families that I represent in House District 17, is their largest and most consistent financial obligation. And yet the system that governs access to housing remain largely opaque to the very people whose lives are shaped by them. That disconnect is not necessarily incidental, but structural. And this bill is designed to address it with clarity and precision. The first component of this legislation establishes transparency and tenant screening practices. Under the amended language, landlords are required to disclose in advance the categories of information they will access and the specific criteria that may result in the denial of a housing application. For the people of House District 17, where many residents are working families, renters, and individuals striving for upward mobility, this matters in very real terms. It means that a family is no longer navigating a system where decisions are made behind closed doors. It means that a young professional trying to secure their first apartment understands what standards they are being measured against. It means that a single parent is not left guessing why they were denied housing that their family depends on. From both a policy and research perspective, transparency is not an administrative burden. It is a corrective mechanism that reduces arbitrary outcomes and increases accountability. The second component addresses the protection of personal identifying information within eviction proceedings. The bill requires landlords to redact sensitive data from filings that may become publicly accessible, including things like social security numbers, financial account information, and other identifiers. In communities like House District 17, where many residents are already navigating economic vulnerability, exposure of that information can have devastating long-term consequences. This provision ensures that a housing dispute does not become a pathway to identity theft, financial exploitation, or further instability.
At a statewide level, it aligns our housing practices with the basic expectation that personal data should be protected, not exposed. And we must be honest about who this impacts the most. This legislation explicitly acknowledges that barriers to credit building and wealth accumulation have not been experienced equally. In House District 17, that reality is visible. Communities of color, low-income households, and working-class families have historically been excluded from systems that reward financial behavior. This bill does not solve that entire problem, but it intervenes at a critical point when the housing system to begin correcting it. Statewide, it reflects a commitment to ensuring that opportunity is not reserved for those already positioned to access it. This is not a sweeping or abstract proposal. It is a measure, evidence-informed policy that establishes clear expectations, transparency in how decisions are made, protection of personal information, access to mechanisms that support financial advancement. For the people I represent in House District 17, this means greater clarity, greater protection, and greater opportunity for the people of Colorado. It means a housing system that is more accountable, more transparent, more equitable, and more aligned with the values we claim to uphold. As both a legislator and an educator, I evaluate policy based on outcomes. Right now, too many renters are navigating a system that produces uncertainty, vulnerability, and limited opportunity. House Bill 261196 moves us toward a system that produces clarity, protection, transparency, and pathways forward. This is a good policy, and it's responsible governance, and I ask respectfully for your yes vote. Thank you.
Representative Woog.
It looks like there's a surprise. I'm up here speaking on a landlord-tenant bill. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I will acknowledge to the co-primes, thank you for the amendments, whether you liked them or not. I do appreciate that. But I do want to, I know you don't like them. But here's why I want to speak to the bill and others that we've seen. It seems that we're trying to help tenants, and I respect that, but there's a line here, and I think it's been mentioned, we try to create, or hopefully we're trying to create some balance in this legislature, but when we're trying to, whether we're trying to or not, we're penalizing a lot of these bills, such as this bill, especially unamended, penalizing landlords. So we're taking someone here, and then the tenants here, and I think we're trying to get that equity going. I know that it's in one of the amendments. We talk about equity a lot. It's like someone's here and we're trying to even that out. And with equity, I don't care if it's an athletic team, I don't care if it's a business, maybe it is financial, but why are we trying to cut someone down to even them out and help someone else out? And frankly, that doesn't help the person that maybe wants to get to that level. Just giving them something, it doesn't get there. Now, punishing the landlords is not helpful either. There's so many levels of being a landlord, and I just want to make this clear, and I've said this before, there are small-time landlords. There are people that maybe moved out of their home and they're renting out one home, or maybe it's two, and that's their nest egg. And that's what they retire on. And they work their tail off to buy that home. They live there, probably raise their kids there, and now they move out. And I talk from experience because I was a property manager and I had a small number of properties I managed. And there are so many families or even single owners that have gone through that, and that is their nest egg. So these laws that get passed in here, maybe they're aimed at these bigger companies, but they still hurt the smaller ones. They still hurt the mom and dads that literally want to retire on this. And it's made it so hard, and I've said this before. I sold my own small residential property management business because so many laws that come out of here hurt the landlords or the property manager. They just make it so hard for us to do our job. I mean, the reality is I think about life. I think about life, liberty, and property. I mean, that's John Locke, but I think that's where Thomas Jefferson came up with life, the pursuit of happiness. I can't even speak right now. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So many things I'm trying to get out here. Life, liberty, and property. So that's the landlord. So there's some rights there, and there's so many laws coming out of here that are picking away at those rights and making it harder for that person to own that property. Like I said, we talk about equity. I know the amendment says equity. We talk about that so much here, but I mean, here's an example of equity I think of. Let's say we get, you buy your family a trip to Maui after this session, which would be great, wouldn't it? And maybe you spend on airline and hotel like $6,000, and you're super happy to go, and you get in the plane, and you're finally relaxed, and suddenly the flight attendant comes on and says, for those of you to my right, I want you to lift up your left butt cheek and scoot over, give up 20% of your seat, and for those of you to my left, same thing, lift up your right butt cheek, scoot over, you need to give up 20% of your seat. We allowed some people to buy tickets at half price. They're gonna come on, and just like you, they're gonna lift up a cheek, but everyone's gonna fit on this plane because that's equity. So we really need to look at what we're trying to do with equity here, and I feel like that's what these landlord-tenant bills do. And I speak from being a tenant right now. I've been a property owner, I've been a tenant, so I understand. But we have to be careful because the more we hurt landlords, and again, there's so many small ones as well we got to think about. So with these bills, we just got to be looking out for everyone. And again, I see this as anti-business because a lot of my clients, when I did this, started to get out of this business, and we're going to have a Colorado where the properties, the residential properties, the rentals are owned by corporations, and that's a whole nother battle. So I urge a no vote. I respect that you amended it. I still urge a no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 261196? Rep. Joseph?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I ask for a yes vote on 1196. Right now, too many renters are asked to hand over their deeply personal identifying information without any clear understanding of how it will be used, who will see it, or what standards will determine whether they get a place to live. That is not transparency, and that is not acceptable. Many Coloradans, rent is their single largest expense, yet the process of applying for housing can feel arbitrary and opaque. People are denied housing without ever knowing why. They're asked to trust a system that does not give them that information they need to make an informed decision. The bill changes that. This bill requires landlord to clearly lay out the rental application itself, what information they will review, what criteria will use to approve or deny an applicant, and what screening agencies involved. That is not burdensome. That is basic transparency. When people understand the rule, they can compete fairly and avoid wasting time, money, and opportunity. Just as importantly, this bill protects Coloradans from having their most sensitive personal information exposed in eviction proceedings. Court records can become public, and without proper safeguards, things like social security numbers, as you've heard from my co-prime, bank account information, and other personal identifiers can be left vulnerable. That puts people at risk of identity theft and financial harm. This bill makes it clear that information must be properly handled and redacted. And let me be clear about the enforcement. The Attorney General enforces every law in the state of Colorado, and that authority applies here. This bill will be enforced. In addition, our court will ensure compliance by requiring that filing meet the proper standards and that sensitive information is handled correctly. Lastly, landlords will be accountable to follow the law. Members, this is not complicated. This is about making sure people know the rules, protecting their personal information, and ensure a system that treats people with dignity and respect. A yes vote today is a vote for transparency. It is a vote for privacy. It is a vote for fairness within the housing system in Colorado. I respectfully ask you to support this particular bill. And also, I wanted to note this bill has been stake-held a lot. And you can see this is a massive, massive amount of paper because of all the work that we've done in the bill. We just passed Amendment 22 and 23 because of the level of stakeholding we've done in this bill. And I also want to thank my co-prime sponsor who I've worked with over the last few months to get this bill where it is. And I understand that, some may still end up voting no on the bill, but just know that you're voting no on transparency and accountability, which is something that we all need. And also, too, we did strike part of the language which, according to some, would have been burdensome. So we've done a lot of work to get this bill where it is, and we ask you for a yes vote. Not out of pity or because of the work because we put in a lot of work, but because we've gotten the bill to a place where we believe what's left in the bill is still important, and it creates a level of accountability and transparency that is still needed within the eviction system here in Colorado. And also, I wanted to note, I understand everybody has different districts. Over 50% of my district in Boulder are renters, and renters deserve to have their information protected. And the accountability and transparency that is required in the system is extremely important to ensure the balance between landlords and tenant in this work that we do. So we ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Representative English.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to be clear, the good representative from Weld County spoke to the unamended bill. And just like my co-prime Representative Joseph stated, that we did a lot of work on this bill, and it's not where I particularly wanted it to be, but in this place, that's what happens. Our bills tend to get gutted, and so I don't think it's too much to ask for transparency and accountability when it comes to protecting data, especially as a landlord. And I think that's the right thing to do for landlords, and just asking to share what can disqualify someone from becoming a renter doesn't cost anyone anything. And I do respect landlords. I have a lot of them in my district, but at the end of the day, we also have to make sure that there's transparency and accountability and protection for renters, and we ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 261196 as amended? Seeing none, the question before us is a passage of House Bill 261196. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 1196 as amended is passed. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to Senate Bill 26122.
Senate Bill 122 by Senators Pelton, R. and Roberts, also Representatives Winter and Lukens, concerning liquid fuels and in connection therewith increasing the maximum amount of liability of the Petroleum Storage Tank Fund for individual incidents and allowing the Director of the Division of Oil and Public Safety to adopt a rule or issue policy guidance that provides exceptions for specific requirements established in an ASTM standard for petroleum products.
The longest title ever. Rep. Lukens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 122.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 122 updates Colorado law to increase the petroleum storage tank fund per occurrence liability cap. It provides case-by-case flexibility for high-cost remediation events, and it establishes clear statutory authority for practical implementation of ASTM fuel standards. This bill reflects rising costs, modern fuel supply realities, and the need for thoughtful regulatory oversight. I ask for your yes vote on Senate Bill 122.
AML Winner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank my co-sponsor. This bill came out of a conversation we got out of southeastern Colorado. As you know, the edges around the Metroplex, we buy our fuel from out of state a lot of times, and all different parts of the state are different when it comes to climate and altitude. The most important part about this bill is to be able to move within those standards. Based on the facts that I just explained, we urge a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 26122? No. Rep. Sukla. Sorry, brain freeze.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to say this is a good bill. I have two ranches. One, they're 54 miles apart. We buy the fuel in Utah. I fill 500-gallon diesel tanks full. Good bill. I need to be able to buy out of state, and it's a good bill. Vote yes.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 26-122? Rep. Barone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also come up here in support of this bill as somebody up north in Weld County, oil and gas country. This is very important to a lot of businesses up there that have storage tanks for their fuel, for their diesel, even burnt engine oil that we recycle for heaters. There's burnt engine oil heaters that we use, and whenever we change the oil of our fleet, of our diesel semi trucks, our 1-ton trucks, we put them into this storage tank to be able to recycle and reuse in those oil heaters. So this is very important to us, and I also come up here in support of this bill. I urge a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 26-122? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 26-122. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 26-122 is passed. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of Senate Bill 26-144.
Senate Bill 144 by Senators Frizzell and Lindstedt, also Representatives Winter and Camacho, concerning the collection of delinquent property taxes by tax lien sale and in connection therewith, modifying the structure and authority for treasurers to charge certain fees, amending the process for the sale of tax liens, and recreating and reenacting with amendments the process for obtaining a treasurer's deed after public auction of a property subject to tax lien.
Rep. Camacho.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 144.
So moved to the bill. Rep. Camacho.
Madam Chair, I would also like to move Amendment L8 and ask that it be properly displayed.
It is properly displayed to the amendment.
During our vast stakeholding, we discovered that we made a few mistakes, which happens, but we caught it just in time. There's a few typos, and we've also clarified within the bill an inconsistency that was brought to our attention in committee. So with this, we ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on Amendment L008? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Amendment L008. All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. Amendment L008 is passed. To the bill. Rep. Camacho.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today we are presenting Senate Bill 144. This is a technical but essential bill to ensure Colorado's tax lien and treasurer's deed system is constitutional, consistent, and workable for counties across the state. Let me start with why this bill is necessary. In Tyler v. Hennepin County, a 2023 United States Supreme Court decision, this bill addresses that decision and what happened when government takes property to satisfy a tax debt. In that case, a homeowner owed roughly $15,000 in property taxes. The county seized and sold her home for about $40,000 and kept every dollar over the tax amount. The court held that this violated the Fifth Amendment. The government can collect what is owed but cannot take more than the debt and keep the excess. The surplus equity belongs to the property owner. That ruling directly impacts systems like ours. Colorado took an important first step last year, but as its counties began implementing the changes, they identified gaps and inconsistencies that made the process difficult to administer and left risks that were not fully aligned with the Constitution. This bill finishes that work. Before I walk through this section, it's important to understand the underlying process. When property taxes go unpaid, the county does not immediately take the property. Instead, it sells a tax lien at auction. An investor pays taxes and receives a certificate of purchase. The property owner still has time, typically years, to redeem the property by paying back taxes and interest and fees. If the property is not redeemed, the lien holder can apply for a treasurer's deed, which can ultimately transfer ownership. And that is the moment where Tyler matters most, because without proper safeguards, that is where a person who could not only lose their property, but all the equity they've spent years building. This bill builds safeguards directly into the statute. Let us be very clear. The provisions that protect a property owner's equity. First, Section 50 requires a public auction before any treasurer's deed can be issued. That auction establishes fair market value through a competitive bidding process and ensures the property is not simply taken at the amount of the tax debt. Section 20 requires that every application for a treasurer's deed go through that auction-based process. There's no alternative path that can bypass these protections. Sections 25 through 33 repeal outdated deed structures. Fourth, the bill strengthens notice and due process protections, requiring clear notice to property owners and transparent publication of sales so that individuals have meaningful opportunity to redeem their property before any transfer occurs. Taken together, these provisions ensure that government collects what is owed but cannot take more than that. Beyond these provisions, the bill also makes the system actually workable. Section 1 updates the Treasurer Fee Authority to reflect the modern process and ensures counties can administer auctions and deed proceedings effectively. Sections 2 through 12 standardize definition, notice requirements, and how tax lien sales are conducted, creating consistency across counties instead of a patchwork of practices. Sections 13 through 19 improve operational clarity, ensuring minor technical errors don't invalidate the sale, and clearly define post-sale responsibilities. Sections 34 through 39 modernize how counties manage tax lien certificates and properties. Members, this bill does three important fundamental things. Ensure Colorado complies with the Constitution after Tyler. It creates a clear and workable system for counties to follow, and it protects property owners by ensuring their equity is not taken unlawfully. This is about making sure our tax system is fair, transparent, and legally sound, and we respectfully ask for your aye vote.
AML Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank my colleague for the deep dive on that and explaining the whole bill. Just want to finish up the key points of this bill. It ensures constitutional compliance. It provides a clear and workable process for counties. It restores statutory consistency. And finally, it does not expand county authority or increase taxes. And I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 26-144 as amended? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 26-144 as amended. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. House Bill 26-144, Senate Bill 26-144 is passed. As amended? As amended. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
You've heard the motion. The committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Shebel, please read report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report is under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1196 is amended, 1224 is amended, and 1288 is amended, passed on second reading, order engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 105 is amended, 122 and 144 is amended, passed on second reading, order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Representative Hamrick. Members, you have heard the motion. The motion before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
I'm a yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootnell votes yes. Members, we are voting. I'll ask for you to keep your voices down. Representative Woodrow is excused. Please close the machine. With 42 aye, 21 no, and 2 excused, the report is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for consideration of Senate amendments to House bills.
Seeing no objection, we will proceed out of order for consideration of Senate amendments to House bills. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1095.
House Bill 1095 by Representatives Sukla and Nguyen, also Senators Pelton R. and Lindsted, concerning unpaid online access to public notices published in legal newspapers.
Representative Sukla and Nguyen, I expect you down at the well. Gentlemen. We are on concurrences of those Senate amendments that were made on House Bill 1095. Representative Sukla.
Thank you, Speaker. I would ask that we concur.
Now we gotta Representative
get it
Sukla, the motion would be, I move to concur
I move-
with Senate amendments to House Bill 1095.
I
Representative Nguyen.
I move to concur Senate amendments to House Bill 1095.
Thank you. Please
Gobble, gobble.
explain. Please proceed. Representative Sukla.
Yeah, sure. We don't like what they did, but we accept it.
Representative Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Senate made some compelling arguments about local control, and we believe that the authority of communities should have the authority to control their own public ordinances. Gobble, gobble.
Okay, thank you. Representative Richardson, are you speaking to this? No. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1095. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote? Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootnell votes yes. There we go. Clifford, Kelty. Please close the machine. With 63 ayes, 0 no, 2 excused, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1095 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1095 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootnell votes yes. Smith. Please close the machine. With 63 ayes, 0 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1095 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1007.
House Bill 1007 by Representatives Smith and Stewart R., also Senators Kipp and Ball, concerning measures to improve a customer's ability to use distributed energy resources.
Representative Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1007.
Please proceed.
There once was a bill, 1007, bringing low-cost solar down from the heavens. For Coloradans all, from big homes to small, with access no longer uneven. The Senate set guardrails with safety and care, with clear paths for callers and rules that are fair. So concur, we say, and pass it today. Let sunlight be something we all share.
Representative Smith.
Well done. We and our Senate sponsors worked hard to resolve outstanding issues brought by stakeholders. Black Hills Energy, Colorado Rural Electric Association, Colorado Association of Municipal Utilities, Delta Montrose Electric Association, and the Community Association Institute. The Senate made a variety of changes to the bill to alleviate concerns from these stakeholders. We are pleased to report that these changes brought almost everyone to a neutral position. The changes in the Senate included requiring at least one meter collar to be approved and listed on the utility website, requiring a process for approving additional collars with the utility, establishing minimum parameters for the type of collars that should be allowed, outlining conditions under which meter collars could not be approved, and includes customer notification and disclosure requirements in the case of collar not being approved, providing some safety parameters if the installation of a meter collar requires relocation. This, as I said, got almost everyone to a positive position, and I will say, if we pass this bill, we could be the third state in the nation to have plug-in solar. Right now we have Utah and Maine. We're waiting on the governor of Virginia and Maryland. So let's do it, Colorado. Please vote to concur on this.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1007. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 56 ayes, 7 no, 2 excused, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1007 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1007 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 45 aye, 18 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1007, as amended, is repassed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1120.
House Bill 1120 by Representatives Martinez and Velasco, also Senators Simpson and Kipp, concerning the implementation of the recommendations of the Mobile Home Taxation Task Force and in connection therewith, modifying the process for the collection of delinquent property taxes to align with real property tax lien sale and public auction procedures, extending the redemption period for mobile homeowners, and clarifying that a mobile homeowner under legal disability is entitled to an extended redemption period of up to 9 years.
Representative Martinez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1120. Bring on the gobbles.
Please proceed.
Madam Speaker, members, they added in a few pieces in the Senate, some of which we discussed here, around language services and simplifying the process and making sure that it was something that made sense both for the counties and for the people using it, and that this had them going into the county offices, and if there was an additional language that they need, the county could provide it at that time, easing burden on the counties and also making sure that we're equitable for the mobile homeowners. So
Representative Velasco.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Members, I have a poem for you. Love mobile home parks. We want them to keep their money. Taxes are complex. The savings are real.
Very good. The motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1120. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 59 aye, 4 no to excuse, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1120 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1120 as amended. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 42 aye, 21 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1120 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1044.
House Bill 1044 by Representatives English and Joseph, also Senators Exum and Benavides, concerning measures to improve equity in maternal health.
Representative English.
Madam Speaker, I move to concur with the Senate amendments to House Bill 1044.
Please proceed.
Well, so some of them are some technical changes, and all these changes is from the Gov's office, where some words are changing, and the statement of rights for birthing parents, the date needed to change so that they can have ample amount of time to make the changes that they needed to make. And I think that's the majority of the changes, unless Rep. Joseph has something.
Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to add, we sent our bill one way to the Senate, and we're happy with where the bill landed in the House, but the senators made some changes to it, and I felt at time that the bill went through a reverse metamorphosis. So one of the changes that they made, actually, according to the conversation we had with the governor's office, was to For the maternal health advocate, it was a representative from a population known to have worse maternal mortality outcome in Colorado. So that did broaden the bill a little bit more, and I'm okay with that. And we ask for a yes vote to concur.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1044. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutnell votes yes. Bacon Espinoza Sukla. Please close the machine. With 47 ayes, 16 no to excuse, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1044 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1044 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutnell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 48 aye, 15 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1044 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1135.
House Bill 1135 by Representatives English and Joseph, also Senators Benavidez and Marchman, concerning increased transparency regarding chemicals used in the processing of certain hair products.
Representative English.
Madam Speaker, I move to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1135.
Please proceed. Representative Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This one was pretty straightforward. We updated some of the language around intentionally added, and we added those words in different parts of the bill. We also added language to give the AG rulemaking powers, and also we also said in the bill that the bill as drafted doesn't apply to commercial entities that are, when it is not sold to a person, basically. And we ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1135. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutnell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 45 aye, 18 no, and 2 excused, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1135 as amended.
The motion before us is repassage of House Bill 1135 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutnell votes yes. Ricks and Story. Please close the machine. With 44 aye, 19 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1135 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1081.
House Bill 1081 by Representatives Camacho and Duran, also Senator Roberts, concerning measures to optimize Colorado's electric transmission system.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the House to concur on House Bill 1081.
Representative Camacho.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Despite the clarity in which we sent the bill over to the Senate, they still couldn't understand it, so they asked for one amendment that would make one part of the bill optional under the CETA process. The second amendment would limit duplication with existing regional planning processes to allow full participation with the program. So we asked for a yes vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1081. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootnell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 54 aye, 9 no, 2 excused, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hang on. I move for the repassage of House Bill 1081 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1081 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootnell votes yes. Valdez. Please close the machine. With 44 aye, 19 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1081 is repassed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over House Bill 1239 until tomorrow.
Seeing no objection, House Bill 1239 will be laid over until tomorrow. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1268.
House Bill 1268 by Representatives McCormick and Smith, also Senator Lindstedt, concerning measures to advance renewable energy projects on previously disturbed lands through the designation of renewable energy reinvestment areas.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1268.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the Senate, they passed an amendment to clarify that for community engagement on any projects that were going forward, that they had at least one meeting with the community for input from the community, and we asked for an aye vote.
Representative Smith.
I'm a scientist, not a poet, so it's guaranteed I'll disappoint. Compose a poem? I won't. Please just concur, or I'll give you the spur. Yeehaw.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1268. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rootnell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rootnell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 45 aye, 18 no, 2 excused, the motion to concur is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1268 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1268 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes.
Please close the machine. With 44 aye, 19 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1268 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1331.
House Bill 1331 by Representatives McCluskey and Caldwell, also Senators Coleman and Simpson, concerning modifications to legislative interim activities and in connection therewith reducing an appropriation.
Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. It is an honor to serve with you.
An honor to serve with you.
Republicans are red, Democrats are blue. We ran our budget bills together. Not gobble gobble, but cock-a-doodle-doo. I move to concur. I move to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1331.
Please tell us more.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Members, our friends in the Senate found additional savings by eliminating reimbursements and per diem on those of us that would travel for other statewide entity participation, other than just our interim committees. You may remember this is the bill that eliminated interim committees over the next year. This will save our legislative department another $60,000, and we wholeheartedly support and ask for your support.
The motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1331. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 60 aye, 3 no, and 2 excused, the motion to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1331 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1331 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1331 as amended. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine. Members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote? Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Gilchrist and Sirota. Please close the machine. With 59 aye votes, 4 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1331 is adopted. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill Madam Majority Leader. Co-sponsors. Wouldn't want to miss an opportunity to co-sponsor on concurrence. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1332.
House Bill 1332 by Representatives McCluskey and Duran, also Senators Rodriguez and Simpson, concerning the Legislative Department Cash Fund.
Majority Leader Duran.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move to concur on House Bill 1223 to Senate amendments.
Madam Majority Leader, I think it's House Bill 1332. My apologies.
Let me withdraw that.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1332.
Tell us more. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Members, as you recall, this is our Legislative Department cash fund. We increased the transfer by almost $700,000 so that we could mirror the same percentage increase for Legislative Department employees as the JBC had provided for other state agencies. This transfer, as I'll talk about in just a moment, is going to the Legislative Department budget so that we can accommodate those salary increases out of this transfer for this year. I would encourage a yes vote.
The motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1332. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 ayes, 0 no, and 2 excused, the motion to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1332 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1332 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1332 as amended. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine. Members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 ayes, 0 no, and 2 excused, the motion is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Schiebel, please read the title to House Bill 1333.
House Bill 1333 by Representatives McCluskey and Duran, also Senators Rodriguez and Simpson, concerning the payment of the expenses of the Legislative Department.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I move to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1333.
Please proceed.
Thank
Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. As I just stated, we increased a transfer from the cash fund in order to accommodate and ensure that employees, nonpartisan staff in the legislative branch would receive a similar increase to those employees across other state agencies. We ask for an aye vote.
The motion before us is to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1333. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine. Members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay, we've got you as a yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 ayes, 0 no, and 2 excused, the motion to concur with Senate amendments to House Bill 1333 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move for the repassage of House Bill 1333 as amended.
The motion before us is the repassage of House Bill 1333 as amended. Mr. Schiebel, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Lindsay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lindsay votes yes. Representative Rutenell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Rutenell votes yes. Please close the machine. With 63 ayes, 0 no, and 2 excused, House Bill 1333 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Majority Leader Duran.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move to lay over the balance of the calendar till Wednesday, April 15th, 2026.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until tomorrow. Majority Leader Duran.
Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.